Flag salute, please. I would just everyone to please remain standing. I'd like to have a moment of silence for Sarah Trahey, our resident that was killed in the fire in Silverton this past weekend, and then also keep her and her family in our prayers. Thank you. This meeting is convened in accordance with the provision of the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey. Let the official minutes reflect the adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by publishing a notice in the Asbury Park Press on Wednesday, January 8th, 2020, the Press of Atlantic City, and the Star Ledger, and also forwarded to the Toms River Times, Toms River Patch, and WOBM News on Monday, January 6th, 2020, and therefore posting same on the Town Hall Bulletin Board for such notices, and filing same with the Township Clerk, pursuant to a resolution adopted by the Township Council on Friday, January 3rd, 2020. The meeting dates have also been posted on the Township webpage. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Councilwoman Yurick had a pre-planned vacation to California. I'd respectfully move for an excused absence.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Councilman Kopp.
Here.
Councilman Latano.
Present.
Councilman Roderick.
Here.
Councilman Turnbach.
Here.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Here.
Council President Maruka.
Present?
First item, the approval of minutes of January 28, 2020.
Move the minutes.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Turnbach, seconded by Councilman Latano. Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Councilman Latano.
Actually, that was Councilman Kopp. that
Oh,
seconded it. I
I'm
wasn't
sorry,
here.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Latano.
I wasn't here in the last meeting.
Councilman Roderick.
I'm going to abstain as well.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes.
Next are honoring resolutions and presentations, and tonight we have with us the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Move the honoring resolutions and presentations.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Turnbach, seconded by Councilman Roderick.
Kopp.
Councilman Kopp, I'm sorry. Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Latano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes. Council, could we go down for the presentation? Mayor, would you like to join us? Tonight we have a presentation to the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, the Captain Joshua Huddy chapter on their 90th anniversary. And I'm just going to read a little bit of this. It's like the National Society of Daughters of the American Revolution organization with a deep, rich history. They have more than 100,000 women have joined the organization since it was founded over 125 years ago. And the members of the society have dedicated themselves to history, preservation, promotion of education, and encouragement of patriotic endeavors. And whereas on March 8th, 2020, the Captain Joshua Huddy chapter of Toms River, New Jersey is celebrating their 90th anniversary. So on behalf of Mayor Hill, the entire council, we would like to present this proclamation to you in recognition of your 90th anniversary. Would you like to say anything? Linda? Come on.
Thank you very much.
Short and sweet. Thank you so much for attending this evening.
Oh, okay. Okay, no problem. I'll make a note.
Ladies, you're welcome to depart if you'd like. And thanks again for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Continuing on, item number 7 is an ordinance of the Township of Toms River in the County of Ocean, New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 68, Division of Community Service, and Chapter 50, Department of Law Enforcement of the Township Code to reassign the Division of Community Service to the Department of Law Enforcement. Final reading.
Okay, well, we've actually had the final reading and the public hearing on this ordinance. Council's pleasure.
Council President, I respectfully move that we table this to the next meeting for a date certain.
Second.
Okay, so that was a table to our February 25th meeting, correct?
Motion made by Councilman Turnbach to table to February 25th, seconded by Councilman Latano. Okay, Councilman Turnbach,
Yes.
Councilman Latano,
Yes.
Councilman Kopp,
Yes.
Councilman Roderick,
Yes.
Council Vice President Gagan,
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes.
Item 8, an ordinance of the Township of Toms River in the County of Ocean, New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 321, Games of Chance and Amusement Games of the Township Code to exempt local volunteer fire and first aid squads from license fees for bingos and raffles.
Okay, and this ordinance as well, we have closed the public hearing. Council's pleasure.
Move the ordinance on final?
Second.
Motion to, are we tabling this as well? I'm sorry.
I believe there's a motion and a second.
Oh, okay. Motion to move by Councilman Turnbach, second by Councilman Latano. Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Councilman Latano.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
I need to abstain due to a conflict.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Council Vice President Gagan.
I have to abstain as I'm a member of Silverton Fire Company. Occasionally, they do raffles and whatnot, so I abstain.
And Council President Maruka.
Yes.
Next, item 9 is an ordinance of the Township of Toms River in the County of Ocean, New Jersey, amending and supplementing Section 147-1, salary ranges of Chapter 147, salaries and compensation, Schedule H, salary ranges of confidential employees of the Township Code, to eliminate the positions and salary ranges of Council Secretary and Records Manager and establish the position and salary range of the Records Manager/Council Liaison. Final reading.
This is the public hearing and final reading on this ordinance. Anyone wishing to comment on this ordinance, please come, raise your hand. When called upon, come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Seeing none, I'd move to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Move the ordinance on final?
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Turnbach, seconded by Councilman Roderick. Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Latano.
Yes.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes.
Item number 10 is an ordinance of the Township of Toms River in the County of Ocean, New Jersey, amending and supplementing 14-10A Records Manager of the Township Code to redesignate and revise the job duties of the position of Records Manager. Final reading.
This is also the public hearing and the final reading on this ordinance. Anyone wishing to comment on this ordinance, please raise your hand. Once called upon, come up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record.
Seeing none, move to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Move the ordinance on final.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Turnbach, second by Council Vice President Gagan. Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Latano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes. Okay. The next item in business is our consent agenda. I'd like to add a resolution to our consent agenda. It came in late today. I apologize, but the mayor had attended the mayor's meeting this morning, and the freeholders had passed a resolution supporting the joint base, and I'm just going to read it by title only, and it would be item Q. It's a resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Toms River, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, supporting the sitting of the 4th Army Corps headquarters at Joint Base McGuire-Dix, Lakehurst, New Jersey. All right. All matters under the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired on any item, that item will be considered separately. Council, any item that needs consideration?
No.
Council? No. Anyone from the public have an item you'd like to speak about? Okay. We have a motion on the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Motion made to adopt the consent agenda in totality, made by Council Vice President Gagan, seconded by Councilman Latano. Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Councilman Latano.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
And Council President Maruka.
Yes. The next item is reports. Do any council members have any comments on the reports?
Nope.
No comment.
None.
Anyone from the public have a comment on the reports? Seeing none, can I have a motion to move the reports?
Move the reports.
Second?
Motion made by Councilman Turnbach, seconded by Council Vice President Gagan. Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Latano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Council President Maruka.
Yes.
Next up are the bills.
Move the bill list.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Turnbach, seconded by Councilman Kopp. Councilman Turnbach.
Abstain from PO 20-00407 payable to the magistrates, PO 19-06874, and 20-00040 payable to law offices of Dasty McGuckin. I'm a local attorney in town. I have conflicts with those. Yes to the balance of the bill list.
Councilman Kopp.
It was actually Councilman Roderick for this.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Next up, we will have Councilman Kopp.
All right. The following abstentions: 20-00242 payable to Daniel Mahoney. 19-03624 payable to Monmouth Ocean, or formerly known as Monarch. 19-03995 payable to Oceans Harbor House. 20-00240 payable to Owen and Little. 19-07131 payable to Silverman First Aid. Yes to the balance.
Councilman Latano.
Yes, with the following abstention: 19-04386 payable to Preferred Behavioral Health. Yes to the rest.
Council Vice President Gagan.
Yes, with the following abstentions: purchase order 19-03624 payable to Monarch. Purchase order 20-00242 payable to Dan Mahoney, and purchase order 19-07131 payable to Silverton First Aid Squad. Yes to the balance.
Council President Maruka.
Abstain to PO 20-00040, but payable to Dasty McGuckins, Attorney at Law. PO 19-06874, payable to Gregory McGuckin Esquire, and 19-07055 and 19-06835, payable to NJMVC, and PO 20-00320 payable to NJMVC as it pertains to government services. And then 20-00407 Toms River payroll line item 90 payable to NJMVC lease program. I have a conflict. Yes to the balance.
Next, we have elected officials' comments.
Thank you, Allison. Mayor?
Thank you, Council President. I'd just like to echo Council President's sentiments at the beginning of the meeting. Our sympathies go out to the Trehi family on Sarah's passing. In addition to that, there was also the elementary school in Lakewood. I believe it's Ella Clark's school. She was the media and the librarian there. So remember that her, not only is her family involved, but she touched a lot of the lives of some young school children, and they're all going to be going through a rough period of time. So please keep them in your thoughts in the coming weeks. I want to thank the council for moving quickly on the joint base resolution. I just received that from the freeholders on Monday. They had passed that at their last meeting on Wednesday. It's calling for the Fourth Army to consider moving their headquarters or locating their headquarters at the joint base. The joint base is critical. I served on active duty and reserve. It's the only base from Virginia all the way up through New England where the ranges can accommodate a 9mm to a howitzer and a tank for training, and it's also co-located with an airhead where you can fly troops, mobilize them at the base, and the Army troops can then deploy into theater on C-17s out of McGuire. So it's critical to our military infrastructure, and I think this would be a perfect location between two major metropolitan areas for the Fourth Army, and I'm glad we were able to move forward quickly on that today because I believe it's time sensitive and that the military is going to be making a decision. And the more towns we can get in Ocean County to support this, I think the more powerful it'll be an argument for our legislators in D.C. to push for this. So again, I want to thank the council for moving on that. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Latana?
I just want to echo the sentiments of the horrible fire we had in our community, Trehi family, and all the first responders. It was a good job they did, and it's a horrible tragedy. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Roderick?
I just want to say also that our thoughts and prayers go out to Sarah Trehi's family. It's a tragic accident, and horrible. And she'll be in my thoughts and prayers, and hopefully she'll be in yours as well.
Thank you. Councilman Kopp?
So my condolences to the family, the tragic fire we had in Silverton. It was a horrible loss that we had, and a very sad thing for the community. Also, I would like to talk about the two special operations, or special forces operators that we lost the last couple of days. The grim reminder that we still have a war that we're fighting over there. We lost Sergeant First Class Gutierrez and also Sergeant First Class Rodriguez, part of 7th Special Forces Group. We also had a few members with 7th Group that was injured in the firefight, and my condolences to the family and hopefully a speedy recovery to the members of the team that got hurt. That's all, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Kopp. Councilman Gagan?
Again, to repeat what everybody said, my condolences go out to the Trehi family. Silverton's a very tight-knit community, and although I didn't personally know them, they affected a lot of people that were there. My fire company, where I'm assistant chief, did respond. I was out of state. They had a phenomenal response time. The first police officer was on scene in 2 minutes, first ambulance was on scene in 2 minutes, and the first fire truck in 5 minutes. And as a first responder for a number of years, it also affects the first responders, greatly. It's something we do live with. Thinking, could we have done something better? It was just a terrible outcome to a tragic accident. Speedy recovery to the officer that did try to throw a ladder up and make a rescue that was treated later at community. But it's something that we're all going to be grieving with, and we're paying attention to our first responders that were there that have experienced this. We've been going through a lot up there lately, but we're a real tight-knit community, and they're really behind the emergency services up there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Gagan. Councilman Turnbuck?
Thank you, Council President. Again, I'll echo the council's comments and the mayor's comments with regard to Sarah Trahey. I knew Sarah in her role as a coach for the Toms River Football Club, U8 Rapids, and she was a lovely individual. She volunteered her time. She was always out on the fields with her family, and the entire community is going to miss her. These types of events hit home to all of us, and they just don't make a lot of sense. I want to also thank Councilman Kopp and Councilman Gagan for their service to the community in their roles as EMS and first responders, because it's events like this where you really see what people do and how they sacrifice their time and volunteer their time to support the community. So I recognize you and appreciate both of your efforts. On a much lighter note, in an effort to support our police, there is the dodgeball tournament on February 21st at RWJ Barnabas from 6 to 9 p.m. and the proceeds will support the Police Unity Tour. So we're at a time in our community where we need to be together to come together, and I'd encourage everybody to come out that night, support our police department, and just try and find some enjoyment after this tragic incident. Thank you.
Okay. Did I hear the council might be getting a team together? Any volunteers? We'll think about it. I also just want to talk a little bit about the tragedy with Sarah Trahey. I didn't know her, but from reading what people have written about her and spoken about her, she was really part of the fabric of our community, a graduate of Toms River High School South. I know her children were in TRBA, Toms River East Little League. She's a resident and the type of family that we treasure here in Toms River, and it's just a tragic, tragic loss. But also I think Councilman Gagan touched upon it, that it has an effect not only on the family and that Silverton neighborhood, but on the first responders that were there, be our police and our fire. So I just ask at this difficult time to keep the families, keep their family in our prayers, and also our first responders that were on scene that evening, and all the first responders for the job that they do. Also on a lighter note, this afternoon the mayor and I were able to attend the Women's Right to Vote Centennial that the county clerk's office presented. It was held in historic courtroom number 1, and they honored 4 women in Ocean County that have been trailblazers. And one of them was the Honorable Marlene Lynch Ford, first female assignment judge. She was also an assemblywoman. Freeholder Jenny Haynes, who was also an assemblywoman, but also only the 2nd female freeholder in Ocean County here. And the Honorable Diane Gove, who is assemblywoman out of the 9th District, first for the 9th District, and then also the Honorable Barbara Lanuto, who was a deputy county clerk, first female deputy county clerk. She was appointed in 2011. And and we also had our Secretary of State, Tanisha Way, there, and she also spoke. And one of the things that really struck me from the presentation was, as they were trying to ratify the 19th Amendment, I believe it was back in April of 1915, that state of New Jersey took a vote on this, and the only county to vote for women to have the right to vote was Ocean County. The measure failed, but Ocean County did vote affirmative, and that was something that really, really struck me. I didn't know that about our county history, but it was a very nice program, and I know our next council meeting, we're going to be having the League of Women Voters here, and also the Jersey Shore Girl Scouts, because they are putting on a presentation in March, and I know Councilwoman Herrick and myself will be attending that. At this point now, I'm just going to open it up for public comment. Anyone that would like to come up to the microphone, please raise your hand. Once called upon, state your name and address for the record. Anyone from the public? Tony.
Good evening, Tony Tamarazzo, 265 Coolidge Avenue, Ortley Beach. Good evening. Hour and 10 minutes from Hoboken tonight. Pretty good, right? And I went the speed limit.
Oh, we're impressed that you're coming down here.
I'm sorry?
We're impressed that you're here with us.
Well, hey, this is my
Great.
home. Two quick things, well, three quick things. I was fortunate to pick this up. It says, building permits 2020, 435,000. How did that go up double just in January, or is this a typo? It's a typo?
No.
How did 200 extra thousand, which is great, but how did that happen?
Just additional permits that came in this year over last year.
But this year is only a month and a half. So in a month and a half, we've doubled what we did in 2019.
Perhaps
Year
it
to
has-
date.
Perhaps it has something to do with the low interest rates and people getting home equity lines and fixing up their house.
Good weather.
Okay. So two quick things. One is, I really applaud you for not reading the resolutions. I've spent a lot of my career going to municipal council meetings, and I brought the New Yorker to read while you read the resolutions, and I didn't get to open it up. But if you're going to do that, I would urge you to publish the ordinances and the resolutions on the website, because when you get here and you have such little time to read it, suppose there's something that you do want to comment on, you don't really have a chance. I'm a pretty fast reader. I did go through them and I didn't have any comments, but suppose there was something on there that I was charged with coming to comment on tonight. I don't understand why Toms River doesn't do that. Every municipality I've ever worked for or in does it. So I'd ask you to please publish the ordinances and resolutions. You all get your board package, I got to bet, by Monday, right? Don't you all get that? Why can't you throw it on the, even if there's changes, it's okay. I mean, you just, when you open the meeting, you make the changes. So I'd ask you to please do that, because it really disadvantages the public if we can't read ahead, and I don't want you to stop not reading the resolutions. My last thing is, as I'm sure you all know, we thank the Township of Toms River, particularly Mayor Hill and Business Administrator Guardian, for participating in the upcoming mediation on the Surf Club property.
Actually, I will be there as well.
Great, thank you. That's greatly appreciated, and you've been a champion all along. This is vital. I mean, I've been here many times. I don't want to bore anybody. Getting that Surf Club property, this is a gift to Toms River. It's a $6.8 million gift from the state of New Jersey. Let's not turn our back on it. Let's bargain in good faith. Let's reach a settlement that's appropriate. You know, there's an old saying that says that a good mediation is when both parties leave the table equally unhappy. So let's let that happen, and I really urge you, we are out of it. We are simply paying for it. We will not be in attendance. We are not participating in any way in that mediation. I leave it in the good hands of you all to act appropriately, to reach an amicable settlement, and then be a party to our parade in the summer of 2020 as we celebrate the opening of what may be the last public open space in Toms River's ocean. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Public comment?
Seeing none, move to close the public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion for executive?
Move to go into executive session.
All in favor?
Aye.
Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances to discuss matters requiring confidentiality and/or of a privileged nature, and whereas the Township Council is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township Council of the Township of Toms River, the County of Ocean, and State of New Jersey as follows. Township Council will now conduct a private executive session. General nature of the subject matter to be discussed and/or acted upon is as follows. Matters of personnel, matters of litigation, attorney-client privilege, land acquisitions, and contract negotiations. The following specific items to be discussed and/or acted upon are as follows. The executive session minutes review of January 28, 2020. Personnel issues of the Township Clerk's Office and Administration. Review of status of all real property acquisitions. Lipschitz Heck litigation. Toms River MUA, study report of former Business Administrator Shives. It is anticipated that the deliberations conducted in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Council that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. Motion to go into executive session made by Council President Maruka, seconded by Councilman Turnbach at 6:30 PM with all in favor. Motion made by Councilman. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Oh, here we go.
Record?
Do I have a motion to go back into public session?
We have a motion and a second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We have to adopt the executive session minutes of January 28th. All in favor?
No, you have to do a roll call, Al.
Oh, okay. Motion made by Councilman Turnbull, second by Council Vice President Gagan. Councilman Turnbull? Yes. Council Vice President Gagan? Yes. Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Latano?
I have to abstain?
Councilman Roderick? Council President Maruka?
Yes.
And a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. My pleasure, 7:50.